You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
So we are out and about here at the Monday Night Community Show on BRFM, and we're now joined with Dave Hale. Dave, it's always good to catch up with you, and it's great to catch up with you for another year here at the Flower and Vegetable Show.
I tell you what, Daniel, it doesn't seem like a year at all since you and I were sitting over a table in the DeLacy Hall talking about our annual Flower and Vegetable Show. So thank you again for coming. It's always delightful to see you. It's always delightful to take part on the community show.
And I want to say thank you for making me feel very welcome when I come down to Lockwood Plots, and also thank you to you and your wife for giving me a chance to taste some of your produce, because it really was lovely.
It was very good and very nice of you to actually reply by email to me, so that was quite a nice surprise. Hopefully the vegetables and what your family actually ate were worth the effort.
No, it was lovely.
That was great, thank you. As you can see, we put on a show here, albeit in a difficult year, and we've said, we've talked about this before, obviously, where things, as you can see, certain things are down, like for instance the tomatoes class is nowhere near as many as last year, simply because not everybody's got tomatoes, and we're all, like all gardeners, everybody bemoans the fact that no, I haven't got anything this year, and yet strangely enough somehow people put the things together, and here we have a show which is over 250 exhibits, 39 exhibitors, and we're very gratified that we've actually managed to put on. And I'm sure you would have heard behind you, and your recordings picking up the fact that there was a very nice buzz about the place. Actually,
it is nice.
That's good. So ranging the show, as you know, ranges over vegetables, flowers, floral arts and crafts, and cookery. 100 classes, which is very gratifying. Obviously, we're always looking to see where we can actually expand something. For instance, 2 of the classes there, which is Sunday lunch for 2 and 5 a day. Apologies. I can never remember 5 a day. I go for Sunday lunch for 2. Those classes have actually burgeoned. They've expanded so much so, as you've been walking around, you'll probably see there are quite a few exhibits where that particular class is concerned. The good thing about that is newcomers can actually put into those classes, and it's a very subjective class. This is what I would eat for Sunday lunch for 2. It doesn't mean to say necessarily that you're going to get judged, that you're going to get a first prize, but it's nice to see the variety that actually people come up with their Sunday lunch or their 5 a day. And we do follow one of the World Health Organization rules there, that potatoes are not included, because they don't include them in the 5 a day business. So those are those are expanding classes. We'd like to expand other things. For instance, a bit of fun to your right hand side, sorry, I apologise for that, is a photograph, and this year it was sporting scene in Sheppey, but you can see somebody's had a bit of fun with last week's kit. So good fun. It's a fun show as much as anything else, and as I say, there is a buzz about the place, which is very gratifying given that we've had a very difficult year, as all gardeners will tell you.
How does the price system work? Because as I've walked around, I've seen some with red tags on and some with yellow tags. How does that all kind of work?
It's very curious. We don't offer money. We're not rich enough to offer money. And anyway, the prize money used to be something like 50p, 30p and 20p, which is not really worth the effort. You'd be surprised, actually. It's a fun show, but you would be surprised with the fact that people covet that little red tag which says first or the second. How is it I've only got a second? And it's quite surprising, given the fact that it's a fun show, that there is an element of competition about it. There has to be an element of competition. There also has to be an element of learning as well, so that when people come, you've probably heard it, people come up and say, hold it for a minute, I've got stuff which is like that, I've got vegetables which look like that. You feel as though you want to say to them sometimes, put it into the show, we'd love to see it. And it's part of the learning curve. Lots of people will walk up and say that, I have cauliflowers or whatever it happens to be, potatoes, my potatoes are just as good as those, fine. We'd love to see them actually in the show. And that's part of the learning curve for a show, so that we can continue to expand.
Do you have to have your own allotment plot to enter the show, or how does that work?
No. What it is, it's membership of the society. obviously, if you look behind you, for instance, you will see lots of flowers. A lot of those flowers, when you came down and saw us last week, for instance, the outside broadcast, a lot of those dahlias and chrysanthemums weren't around. It's membership of the society which allows you to put in material and exhibits from your own garden. For instance, one of my exhibits down there is an areca palm. No way would I be able to grow that on the allotment. That's been with me for about 10 years in my greenhouse. It probably resents actually coming out of the greenhouse. It'll go back in quickly. It'll sulk for a few days, I'm sure. But the nice thing is I can bring it from my house because it's over and above what you would see from the allotment itself, which is basically vegetables, potatoes and beans and those kinds of things. Very necessary, very beautiful things. But the other thing is, of course, that people who may not have an allotment are still members of the society. Doesn't mean to say they're not growing vegetables in their own garden. So it works both ways.
Dave, it's been good to catch up with you. Thank you very much for telling us all about it today.
It's great to see you, and hopefully we've given some people an insight on your programme as to what the Sheppey Horticultural Society is all about. We'd love to see people. There's a buzz, and I want that buzz to continue and get louder.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed it. It's been good to see all the produce and meet some more people from the society as well.
Yeah, but it's nice as you met Dennis, who was a relative newcomer.
Yeah.
And I've no idea what he actually said because I wasn't listening. There's nothing worse than sitting over somebody's shoulder and listening to what they're saying, giving them a prod. Mention that, mention this. There's nothing like that at all. As I say, whatever Dennis said, I'm sure befits the newcomer, and he is learning himself. And I hope he was happy with what he actually said himself.
Yeah, no, it's good to speak to him.
Great stuff.
Thanks, Dave.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure.
We're out and about. We're at the De Lacy Hall in Sheerness, and we're at the Sheppey Horticultural Society's Flower and Vegetable Show. And we're going to be catching up with some of the people that have taken part in it, see how things have been going. And we're firstly joined with Dennis. Dennis, thank you very much for taking the time out to catch up with us.
It's my pleasure.
Now, Dave was telling me just a minute ago that you're new to all this, so what's it been like for you?
Well, this is my first season, growing season, and coming along here, and I've actually exhibited several items, as has my wife. We haven't been very successful there, but the enjoyment from doing this is absolutely phenomenal. I wouldn't change that for anything. And the people that are here and looking at all the produce saying this is where I'm going to, if I want to, but there's just a sheer enjoyment factor. Just quite unbelievable.
So what is it you have exhibited?
Well, I've exhibited some cucumber, just purely cucumber because my marrows weren't of the correct size.
Right.
I have to be very careful what I'm saying there. They weren't the correct size. And my wife exhibited some cakes, which have, thank you very much indeed, gone, so I shan't be getting those at home, and some chutneys. So, yeah, she'll be very pleased with her results. But, so next year I shall be prepared and I shall clean the floor. Easy as that.
Have you got an allotment plot?
Absolutely, yes, down in Richmond Road.
Right.
I took it over this time last year, so at the end of the growing season, and it was just a grass plot, but we've managed to turn it, feed it manure, lots of manure. So I'm hoping for next year, I've got the next lot of manure in, so I'm hoping next year to dig in and really get some super results. But I've been very, very pleased with the results we have so far on the allotment. It's saved us a lot of money in actual fact.
Right.
Not that's what it's about, but it's just the enjoyment. And it's fresh veg, morning, noon, night. And, for example, broad beans are frozen down now, been blanched for the winter. So at Christmas time I'm going to have fresh broad beans for my Christmas dinner, which I absolutely love. So there's lots of frozen produce gone into the freezers. Lots of it. Okay.
Dennis, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
So we're continuing to talk to people here at the Sheppey Horticultural Society's Flower and Vegetable Show in Sheerness, and we're now joined with Kathy. Now, it's good to speak to you, Kathy, because I spoke to you live in the studio, must be a couple of months ago.
That's
now,
right,
all
yes.
about the fishing club.
That's right, and the fishing club is doing well. We've just had a wonderful development day, and so it progresses. We're going to have a pig racing night soon. Anyway,
Good to hear.
back to the flower show.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. How many years have you been doing the flower show?
I don't know exactly how many, but it seems a long time. I've persuaded my husband to come along, and he's on the committee, but I'm not on the committee, and I told him that he should be showing. And I've always enjoyed showing, because to me that's part of belonging to a society, and I'd like to say how very hard all the committee here work on the Horticultural Society, and I thank them for that. Mine is not with vegetables and things, although I support my husband. I enjoy doing the cooking and the flower arranging. It can be a little traumatic, because you think, well, what's this recipe going to be like? And then it turns out absolutely awful, and it seems like sole your boots. But sometimes you're quite surprised, because you've actually won a prize with them. We've been eating rejects for lunch, but I'm not sure whether that's a good idea anyway.
How have you done this year?
I think I've done quite well. I have several firsts in the cooking, and I have a first for a floral arrangement called Oh Gourd. My friend next door to me is rather angry, because she got the first last year and would love to have beaten me. And last year when I came into the hall, she said, "I've beaten you." And I said, "Well, I'm really pleased, Hilda, because to me that's what it's all about. And I can assure you my husband would love somebody to beat him too." So, but anyway, that's his love.
It certainly sounds like a lot of fun.
It is a great amount of fun, yes. But sometimes you think, why am I doing this? Because it can be quite stressful, particularly when you've got a farm to run at the same time.
Kathy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're continuing to meet some of the people here at the Chevy Horticultural Society's Flower and Vegetable Show at the DeLacy Hall here in Sheerness, and we're now joined with Hilda. Hilda, thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
Now, I spoke to you last year, and I think it was your first year, so are things easier taking part in the second year?
In a way it is. Because from the experience last year, you sort of use the advice given last year wisely to enter this year. So, although with certain aspects it was easier, certain aspects isn't. But at least you know what to expect.
Is there a lot of planning that goes into it ahead?
Yes, but I wasn't going to enter this year for other reasons, and I only decided Wednesday that I was going to join. But yes, throughout the whole year, when you think of next year, you already start to think, oh, I'm going to buy this variety, I'm going to do that. So yes, there is a lot of planning involved. But even with good planning, if the weather is against you, you've had it.
So what did you enter this year?
I entered quite a few of my orchids, apples, carrots. My longest runner bean got a first prize. So yeah, lots of different. Oh, and a pot of jam.
Right. Okay.
Which was I'm very pleased about.
And is that all from your allotment plot?
I've got a garden at home. I don't
Right.
have an allotment, but yes, everything is homegrown and looked after and nurtured.
And you've done well this year?
I'm very pleased with my results this year. So 4 first, 3 seconds and 3 thirds. Now, don't think that's reason to complain.
No, definitely.
I'm really pleased.
Hilda, it's really been good to catch up with you, especially as we spoke to you last year.
Yes, and I hope to see you next year.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thanks.
Thank you.